Hi, welcome back to another episode. We Today we're going to talk about why we transplant trees and why we cut the roots and why we add dirt, right? One of the major reasons is because when you have a tree in a container, the roots are going to start getting crowded in the pot, and the roots will eat up all the soil and the nutrients in the pot. So once that's done, the tree's going to die if you don't maintain the top of the tree and the bottom of the tree because you have it in a container, right? So with that said, is that when you transplant your tree to either a bigger container or even just transplant it back in the same container that it was in, you will need to cut the roots because obviously it's going to have a lot of roots. So you're going to cut it and leave about an inch to an inch and a half of root system coming out of the tree, right? Now, if you do a banana tree, the banana tree has a root ball in the middle of the roots, which you can't cut that root ball because that's where the leaves come. That's where the leaves come up, and that is where the fruit comes up from the middle all the way up through the bark to the top of the tree, right? So what you'll do in that case is you'll cut the roots so that the root ball does not get that big, and you'll keep it in a container. You don't want to, if you don't want the tree to get big, it's sort of like bonsaiing, right? When you bonsai a tree, you cut the roots to keep it compact. Well, when the tree gets to the size that you want it and you don't want it any taller, that's when before it gets to that height, you want to start cutting the roots system so that way it will flourish. And also people pinch the top. They pinch the top. And what they do when they pinch the top of a tree is once it's growing up and it's still young, they will literally pinch off the top. So instead of the tree going up, it'll go sideways. It'll start going sideways instead of going up because you pinched off the top and you showed the tree, no, don't grow any taller, start growing out. And that helps the tree start growing outwards instead of growing tall and that you can't manage the tree, because a lot of people have trees that are humongous and they have to call someone in to help them manage that tree, to prune that tree. Once you have it in a container, you can kind of control the growth of the tree. And once you, every 6 months to a year, repot it, whether you put it in the same pot or whether you put it in a bigger pot, cut the root system and prune the top at the same time. Pruning the top and cutting the root system is taking care of the tree, grooming it, just like how you groom everything else. We groom ourselves, we groom our pets. Yes, your plants need to be groomed. That's why you prune your plants, take off the dead leaves so that the plant can focus its energy on new leaves and being stronger, right? It's the same with the root system. Once the root system gets old and it's growing too big or whatever, and you want to maintain the tree at a certain height and length, you cut off that root system to keep it around that length and height so it doesn't become unmanageable, and you prune the tree also. So with pinching, we'll stop it from growing up, and cutting the roots also will keep it not growing too tall, and pruning it. Make sure you cut off all the dead leaves and you fertilize it and you give it new nourishments from new soil. Because remember, when the tree starts looking like, okay, I've done everything and it's not doing anything, it doesn't look good, it doesn't look perky, whatever, it doesn't look the way it used to, it's dropping leaves, it's usually in the pot that all the nutrients are gone and you need to transplant that tree, right? because trees usually in the ground can spread, the roots can spread far and wide. We know that because people that own houses have seen root system go into their plumbing, go into certain spots that they didn't want it to go in, right? So just to let you know, you can keep trees in pots, but just know that 6 months to a year, you need to readdress the pot system that the tree is in to give it new nutrients, new soil, and to keep the tree happy and, you know, looking good. All right? So that's a brief reason why we transplant, or we take the reason why we transplant or take the tree out of the container to give it more nutrients, because the roots will eat up all the soil in the pot. I don't know how it does it, but I've taken out trees out of pots and you see nothing but roots, right? And you know, okay, this has gotten too big for this container, or you know what, let's cut off some of the roots, give it some more nutrients, some more dirt, put it back in the same pot, and it does fine after that, right? So those are some tips. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give that a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed, please do so now. Thank you.